Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. We are back in the land of the light. We have ambient lighting everywhere. I'm not going full ghost mode today like I did yesterday. But I feel like it went well yesterday, so it's all good. Happy Friday the 13th. If anybody is stitious about those sorts of things, I'm not. Good things happened for me on the 13th. My brother was born on a 13th. I don't know if they were Friday the 13th, but obviously in having milestones on the 13th, inevitably they will end up on Fridays at some point. And I got married on the 13th. So the 13 is actually a pretty awesome number in my books. Whether or not it is for all of you. Good afternoon, Pete. How are you doing today? Pete was the first to inform me that some of my giveaway prizes have made them to their official homes, which is very, very exciting, considering that I only shipped them out on Wednesday. So I am very excited about this. So hopefully, I don't know how long the ones going to the States are going to take, but hopefully not too long. I think because they're small enough. Speaking of teeny tiny things, we're back at it. We're back on our miniature bullshit, friends. Yeah, I'm glad. I am doing A-okay. I'm thankful for the sunshine today. And yeah, things are doing good. I will say though, I'm a little bit not bummed out. I do think it'll be okay. And it's my own fault. I finished the anime I'm currently watching. I do think there will be more episodes, like in the meantime, like on Crunchyroll. They've been promoting it and it's been like dubbed in a bunch of different languages. So I do think that more episodes are going to be coming, especially considering that the story, like the episodes I've watched so far, ended before the like main mission had even like really got into it. I'm watching this anime called Spy Family. Because you know me, guys, I'm super into the like found family animes. I usually do slice of life ones, but those are only ever like 12 episodes. And then I'm sitting there like, well, shit, now what? So this one at least had 25 episodes. And now I have to wait for more. But I assume more is coming. But now I'm a bit like, oh, well. Yeah, look, we finished all of the tiny teas. Good morning, Kat. How are you? So, yes, we can add the tiny teas to our tiny selection. Here, I'm going to gauge where my camera is. And we will place the teas here so everyone can see how teeny tiny they are. I finished them this morning. Ooh, excellent. Oh, yeah, is that a new thing now where on Fridays you get to leave early, right? Lucky you. That's an excellent start to the weekend. You know what I mean? Like, it's an excellent start when you get to have a bit more time to yourself. Okay, there's our tiny teas. We have other things. What did we make as well at the end of yesterday? We did the tiny teas. We did our plant, which one of the leaves popped off this morning, so I had to re-glue it. But now we can kind of see these things a bit more in the light. Yeah. So we did a plant, and then we did this little... Oh, yes, the rolling thing. The rolling papers. Yes, the little paper rolls. Our little gift bag here. I wonder if it'll actually autofocus. Yeah, so that little says take me. I think they're just meant to be like rolled up promotional posters. But, you know. Don't act so scandalized, Pete. And then now we can actually see some of the other creations I've made in better detail now that we have a bit more light upon us. So my favorite things that I've made so far is this like kerosene lantern, which I don't know, I'm just like obsessed with it. I love how it's like a snap that's been repurposed in a different way, even though bending this wire was a pain in the butt. But I'm glad we got there in the end. And then the teeny tiny treat tray in all of its cuteness. There we go. We can see a little bit better now. But yes, so today we have a few more things we're going to be working on. Culminating specifically in why I named the stream what I did, is we're going to do some electrical work today. Some teeny tiny electricianing, if you will. Oh, speaking of which, I need to go, I'll find that after. I have to go grab a lighter at some point. I know, scandalous. Because we're going to attempt to wire the little light that exists in the tea shop. So that's gonna happen. But before we do that, before we get into the exciting electrical things, we have fun iridescent butterflies to make and another plant. That's on the current docket before we transition into wires and such. But how's everyone doing today? It's freaking chilly as right now, but at least the sun is out, so I'll take what I can get. Shadow and I went to the forest today. We did our big forest W. So he's been absolutely sparkoed most of the afternoon. To the point where, I don't know, I've been a bit worried because the last couple times we went to the forest, he like full on greyhound run, like super zoomies multiple times. Oh yeah, you can see yourself. Quick, you're on camera. Yeah, so we went for a little forest run, and the few times we've done it in the past, like last week, Shadow was then quite limpy afterwards. I think like he was getting sort of like muscle spasms and things. So I didn't really want to subject him to that anymore. So I've been kind of monitoring how much zooming he did today. That absolutely wasn't folded properly. It looks like this wants me to fold it in half and then sort of like cut the butterflies so that they're like bendy. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Whether or not we're accurate in our goals, we'll see. But he had so much fun today. He found so many like doggy friends to play with. And to the point where, like, again, none of them could catch up. There was one that was actually like a Staffy Labrador cross that I think the woman was saying they might have had a little bit of greyhound in them, because it was full on keeping up with Shadow. Like, Shadow had to switch into second gear to like keep the distance between the two of them, and usually that's not what happens. So I thought that was, you know, good for him. He was quite enjoyable with that. But it was so windy today that even when Shadow wasn't moving, like the wind was pushing all of his hair back, so he looked like he was going fast even when he was just in one place. And then it was really sweet. There was we were walking past, there's like a little calf in this field by the park that we always walk by, and there was a mom and her little girl walking up, and she must have been like, I don't know, 4 or something like that. And she saw Shadow and came like running over to him and got her hands all up in his face to like give him pets and stuff. And he was kind of like moving his head out of the way, but he was very well behaved about it. And she was like, oh wow, big doggy, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then I had Shadow's ball launcher, like tennis ball launcher in my hand. And this little girl was like, oh my God, and went and literally just, I've never met this child before in my life, takes the ball launcher out of my hand, realizes she probably can't work it, takes the tennis ball out and just like throws it to see if Shadow goes to get it, and Shadow just kind of looks at me, looks at the ball, like, what the hell, man? And the little girl's mom is like, oh, he must not want to play right now. And I was like, yeah, he did a bunch of running around earlier, so he's probably a little bit tired. But it's so funny, right? Because, like, this little girl, and then I was trying to, because I was like, I don't think Shadow really likes this little girl all up in his face. So I was like, oh, he really likes butt scratches if you do that and stuff. And, you know, she was very brave. Like, she was very, very cute. And I think it's very similar to my nephew, where, like, they really love the dog, like, love Shadow, and they want to play with him, and they want to do all that kind of stuff. But then as soon as he matches their energy, they're, like, overwhelmed, right? I wonder if I can do this with a pencil, because I was doing it with a pen earlier, and then I was like, ooh, maybe not a good idea. Yeah, fuck it, we'll still use the pen. I don't care. Let's live on the wild side. And so this little girl, like, I think she, like, ran, she kind of did, like, a little baby run, you know, like little 4-year-olds do. And then Shadow kind of went, like, bouncing after her a little bit. And then, of course, she started, like, yelling, like, oh, I don't know. Like, she was very sus about him. And I'm like, yeah, you know, because and luckily the mom was super chill. The mom was like, oh, he's trying to play with you and stuff like that. And I was like, thank God this mom is super chill. Because it's like she recognized that the little girl was like, oh my God, doggy. And then as soon as the doggy started acting like a doggy, she was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. But the mom was like understanding of that. So it was like perfect. But because it had rained so much over the last few days, I like completely forgot. I was like, why is it so muddy in the forest today? And I was like, right, because it was absolutely chucking it down over the last few days. So safe to say both of us came home pretty full of mud. Some people more than others. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I think especially because, like, Shadow is literally the same height as a lot of kids. It's like we try really, really hard to make sure that he's chill around them. But again, like, my nephew, he's sort of figuring it out, but, like, not 100% yet, because he's so full of energy, right? And Shadow sort of matches whatever energy's going on. He doesn't like big sudden movements, right? And kids are full of, like, sudden hyper movements. And so Shadow will just be chilling, minding his own business. My nephew will get up and, like, run into the other room, and Shadow's like, oh my God, what's going on? So he'll run after to investigate. And then my nephew's like, oh my God, Shadow, like, he's too, like, in his face and stuff. And I'm like, you gotta be calm, dude. If you are calm, Shadow is calm. But it's very difficult to try to tell a 5-year-old to be chill. Especially my nephew. He's full of beans. But because it's even to the point where, like, it happens with Liam, or, like, even with me, like, we need to be very sort of deliberate and subtle with our movements. The other day I made a phone call to the pharmacy, and they asked me what the name of one of my prescriptions was, and I forgot. And so I was on the phone, and I was like, okay, 1 second. And I was, like, kind of in a hurry. So I rushed up the stairs, and Shadow was, like, on my tail. Like, where are we going? What's going on? Why are you freaking out? And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying not to, like, waste this person's time. Like, I don't want to waste the pharmacist's time, so I want to find out this information quickly. And he's like, oh my God, you're going really fast. What's going on? Chill, dude. So, I don't know. I don't know if this is the case with, like, all dogs. I feel like some dogs will probably watch other people run around and just go, yeah, whatever, I don't care. But he's, like, hyper alert. He's like, why are you moving quickly? There must be something happening to require this. And I'm like, no, dude, sometimes we just gotta move a little bit more quickly than you want us to. And he's like, seems messed up. I think there's a problem. Hopefully this works. I don't know. We'll see. It actually might be alright, because it seems like the ink isn't really sticking and it's kind of smudging and stuff, which might actually work to our advantage. Because we don't really want that. So I finished the tea boxes this morning before I moved the setup back upstairs. I say this morning, it was like at noon. Because by the time we got back from the forest, it was like basically lunchtime. We'll see if he makes an appearance again today. That seems to be his new thing, popping in at the end of stream to be like, stream is over now, Mom. So he might do the same again. But he's pretty Spargo. Like, he's upstairs now. He's in this thing. Yeah, do the butterflies give you butterflies? Yeah. He's a sweetie. So see if he pokes his nose in. I love it because it you know, when he was a puppy, it was like, you know, and it is still sometimes incredibly inconvenient that he is actual table height. So you have to make sure that you push everything like a shadow snoot away from the side of the table, or else it's very easy for him to access stuff. He's not like super food motivated, but he's quite an opportunist. So like if something yummy is within snout reach, he will absolutely try to get it. But in other moments, like that, like yesterday, where he could just like plop his head on the table just to be like, oh hey, what's going on? It was very sweet. Okay, I think that's all we need to do. Cut along the edges, then get several colorful butterflies. Okay. Hopefully, like I said, this works, because it's not like it's folded the best. I feel like this might have been better if I had like tinier scissors, but it's fine. Maybe if I just cut. Here we go. Oh, yeah, we need to do that because I keep smudging the other ones. I'm just gonna like cut what I need out of here. Oh, and then we'll go from there. Okay, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me make sure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Make sure we collect all of our pinged butterflies. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to do that. I have to find a better way to cut these. Maybe I shouldn't have made them so tiny. Ooh, good question. It's so funny, Pete. I feel like you were reading my brain because I was just about to ask that. I don't really... Actually, the only major plans I have are this Sunday at 8 p.m. over on Saul the Seeker's Twitch channel. I'm gonna be there on his game show Stars in Your Mouth, which is a take on, I guess, a British competition show called Stars in Your Eyes. So I will be there along with other guests competing. So that's happening on Sunday. Okay, that turned out not bad. I thought maybe it was gonna be like a real mess, but it's actually quite cute. Okay. But yeah, so that's happening on Sunday. And then tomorrow, I'm not entirely sure. My Liam is helping his family out with some stuff. And so I might go over and assist with nephew sitting. Ooh. But I'm not sure yet. I think my brother-in-law is going to be looking after my nephew while my other brother-in-laws go help my parent-in-laws. That's a lot of in-law terms. Basically, family are going to do things, and tiny creatures both doggy and human alike, would be in the way. So, you know, other people are going to help take care of them while that's happening. Is that a real convoluted way of me saying what I was saying? You're packing up your Christmas stuff? Or is it sad times for you? We've done that already. I think we just, like, to be fair, I actually ended up doing it quite early. Because I was like, we have the time to do it. I think it's also me, like, being a bit salty of the fact that, like, if I need to take my Halloween decorations down so early, then we will take the Christmas decorations down early. Is it a lot of stuff? Are you the type of people who have, like, Christmassy decor around your house, like all around the house, or do you have it, like, specific to a couple areas? This one didn't turn out as well as the other one, but that's okay. They're still cute. Still cute. 2 down. 3 to go. Yeah. See, I think because our dining room, living room is like one big room, it's mostly in those 2 areas, and then we have a wreath on the front door, but that's about it. Whereas the Halloween stuff has slowly... I've been trying to be respectful and not have it completely take out the whole house. It's usually just, like, on the bottom floor. But depending on what it is, you can probably pack a lot of stuff in, like, only a couple rooms. It's mostly living room, front entrance. Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of the main stuff. It's sort of like wherever the tree is and then sort of expanding from that, right? Sorry for reading my... No, not a problem. I appreciate it. Every once in a while. Don't worry. Kat's done it in the past, too. Oh, no. I made it worse. I was trying to make a... That's okay. So far, the first one has been the best one so far. How can I make this not suck as much? There we go. That's better. What are you up to this weekend, Pete? Do you have any plans? You're the one who asked the question. What are you up to? How's your training modules going? Ooh. Four done, 1 to go. I think what I'll do, I think Liam might have a lighter in his desk, so I'm gonna check. Because apparently we need that to heat shrink the tube over the wires when we... glue some stuff up. So let's grab all the things we need before we do that. Leveling up, aka getting older this Sunday. Oh, does that mean it's your birthday on Sunday? Training's going well, just one more to do. Then 2 days back-to-back weekends of training. Oh, wow. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah, you're going to be finishing, you're doing your online training, and then it'll transition into the in-person training for a bit. That's awesome. Are you enjoying it? Where are we putting our trash today? I can pop this away. Pop that in there. Let's pop the trash here today. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. That's good that you're enjoying the training. Very exciting. Do you have any birthday plans? Are you someone who likes to celebrate your birthday? Because I know some people are like not too keen on birthdays, or they like could take or leave them, or they're like, I absolutely don't want to celebrate them. Okay, I don't think we need those anymore. All right, tiny little iridescent butterflies that are currently covered in fingerprints, but we'll fix it. There we go. You can't even really see them. They're like, there we go. Iridescent flutterbys. I feel like that's the best way to see them, is by, you see it as another day. That's fair. Did your grandparents usually go really ham with the birthday celebrations? Good morning, Meg! How are you today? I'm just gonna try to make this guy a little bit more rounded. Ooh. Sure. Yeah, grandparents are usually the ones that go ham on the birthday. Ooh, food and coffee. Excellent, excellent. What food are you currently consuming? What is the consumption of choice today? Not really. Yeah, absolutely. That's fair. So it's more just that they raised you. A buttered croissant. Wowie zowie. Feels like we're being decadent this Friday. Yes, you're very on brand today, Meg. I appreciate that. So next we're going to be working on a little plant. And see, I was a little bit annoyed with this because, and similar to this needing a lighter thing, because it originally doesn't specify the things, you know, because it'll be like, here's everything that's included. Here's all the tools that are not included that you need. But it doesn't list all of the, I guess not necessarily tools, but like items you might need that aren't included. So for this one, you're meant to provide your own tissue. And then again, for this one, you're meant to like heat shrink the tubes. And it's like, that requires things and you didn't indicate. But it's fine. I found some tissue paper that I had lying around so we can make it work. That's awesome. I request a butter croissant as well, right? Absolutely. Okay, so we need to basically vary our cuts with this. So let's cut this off. Let's see what we're working with. So the first plant we made was an outdoor plant, whereas this is an indoor plant. And we need to, I love how these are already kind of varying lengths, but that's fine. We want to do like a small, medium, and large. Those are kind of the same length. That's on me. Oh well. We'll fix it. She heavily trolled you. That's incredible. Yeah, I think I made one of them too short, but it's fine. Is it ever truly a phase though, Meg? Like, come on now. I bet when those emo bangers come on, you don't forget the lyrics, man. Especially like around the music that you listened to when you were like 13, I feel like never truly leaves you. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'm meant to take a bit of tissue. I assume like the height of this. We don't need a lot, I don't think. Pete coming in with the custom food requests. I love it. Okay. I might have not made this. I might have made this too thin. It's fine. And then we're just meant to like roll it and then place the stuff in it. I think this is just to kind of fill out the base and give it a bit of stability. It might need more. Yeah, we absolutely are gonna need more. Okay, let's try this again. Round 2. Let's cut a decent chunk of this. See, and I never know when things state tissue. Do they mean like tissue paper or do they mean like Kleenex tissue? I'm not sure. Probably tissue paper. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I also feel like tissue, like Kleenex, probably like disintegrates with glue and things, whereas the paper itself has a bit more, like you said, structural integrity to not. Okay. Is this the right length? It's a bit tight. I might need to fold it a bit more. Okay. I don't know, man. I think it's, I feel like this part is just kind of like fuck around and find out. It's like, let's just twiddle around and hope for the best. I believe that is the aim for this. Ooh, whoa, whoa, oh no, oh no. At least this isn't folding something every 2 millimeters like that stupid fan collar. I'm gonna keep bringing it up. It's gonna forever be like this bullshit. It looks fine though. It was a pain. This is not as painful as that was. Right? It's true. It's not bad. Okay. Yeah, so that's not bad. And then it's like, okay, let's trim off some of the excess. Right. Okay, so glue this in and then place the orchids. Are those orchids? Kinda. Not really. Though it was interesting, I did notice that plant that we made yesterday, the leaves on it look very similar to a lot of the leaves of just like random weeds in my neighborhood. So I was like, is that what the inspiration was? Inevitably get glue all over the fingers and just kind of, there we go. We might need to like strip some of the leaves off of this just to make it easier. Place. Good afternoon, Saul. Howdy, howdy. How are you doing? How are tings? How are tings? We are about to undertake some miniature electricianing, but not before... Oh no, how come? Did you do all of your recording for your Sunday show in one night? And all 3 of your characters performed musical performances, and that's why your voice is sore? That's my guess. That's my theory. Am I correct? Okay, I'm gonna make this one even shorter, which feels like overkill, but I did straight after stream. Yeah, that's what I figured. Oh, all the performances are ready to go though. Excellent, excellent. What's our final total? Do we have 9 official performances? 9, 10? That's incredible. No wonder your voice is tired. That must be, that's a bit of like an Inception, right? Because are your characters performing as themselves? Or are your characters transforming into people? Awesome! Perfect, perfect. I'm excited. But yeah, that's like a little bit of a thing to get your brain around. So you yourself, Saul, are transforming into one of your characters, and then one of your characters is then transforming, which is like next level. You know what I mean? That's really cool. But yeah, that's like some extra stuff where it's like, you know, I'm going to play a character who has a distinct speaking voice, who's going to be attempting to imitate a famous singing voice. That's a lot. No wonder, like I said, again, no wonder your voice is sore. Sang. Well, I don't know, are you rapping? Are you That's what I want to think. I think that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. Saul's going to be rapping as one of your characters. Okay. Okay. I think sort of kind of maybe. Ooh. There we go. Just gotta let that dry. Cute. Okay. While that's drying, let's tick this off the list of things we've done. I'll have to wait and see. Yeah, sure. If you want to send it over, that would be awesome. Let's see the lineup. What's tomorrow's lineup looking like? Ooh, very exciting. That's awesome. I'm so excited. Guys, if you don't know, Sunday, 8 p.m. over on Saul's channel. Be there or be square. I don't know what else to tell you. It's going to be so awesome. Okay, I'm going to BRB while I go and try to find a lighter. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. We found one. It's like a miniature barbecue lighter. That will do. Okay. Can you tell I'm a little bit nervous about this part? I think we need to move our little creations out of the way. Make way for Tasha, the miniature electrician. We need all the room. Okay. Yeah, things are going great. Shadow and I had a forest adventure this morning where he had tons and tons of zoomies, and now he's schnoozing in the bedroom, having a big old snooze. Okay, we don't need this anymore. And what do we need? We need this lampshade. Good luck with that. Honestly, Kat, I need to channel your DIY queen energy into this moment. Now we need to find... I feel like I put... Yes. No. Yes. Yes. Possibly. Okay. We need this wooed piece. We need the lampshade. Check. We need Green heat shrink tube. Check. We need a light bead. I assume that's what this is. The teeny tiny light bead. Check. Yellow white wires, which are these bad boys. And brown wire. We don't need the battery pack yet, though. So, I guess we'll just got my W-2 16 days early. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. Supplies have been acquired. We just need to make sure that we cut everything at the right length. Okay. So what length do we need? Let's put the tiny things. This seems like it should be fine. I think I'm just nervous because, I don't know, because it's fire and wire and stuff. So of the yellow and white wire, I think we need, what does it say? 450 millimeters. Which is 45 centimeters? Right? That's a lot. Is my math correct? You just moved the decimal place over one, right? I'm remembering math correctly? 450 millimeters is 45 centimeters. Correct? That was math. I had to do my own math. Yeah, that's true. What was the math? 140 millimeters is what in centimeters? It's just 45. Yeah, okay. I was like, it shouldn't be that difficult. I think that might be the majority of this wire. Yeah, roughly. So I might as well just leave that at what it is. And then if we muck it up. Okay. And then the brown wire, which is this bad boy, is meant to be 26. The worst president. Who? Math? Or the current president? Oh, is McCartney or McCarthy your official Speaker of the House now? I thought I just randomly saw... To be fair, I saw like a fake conversation between him and like Matt Gaetz. Is that the guy? The jerky guy? 26 millimeters. That's 2.6. Yeah. Yeah, isn't his empire about to get charged soon? Legally? I don't know. You know what it is? Because I used to watch the Phil DeFranco show every day to get my news. And it's back now, and I just haven't watched it. And that's usually how I get all my up-to-date information on, like, states stuff. What is this? 2.6. 2.6. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what's going on. You start watching it. Yeah. Yeah, he was voted in because he made a lot of concessions. Yeah. No, I should get back into it. I've just been so into just like watching cartoons in the morning. I just watch anime in the morning now before I start my day. Though I've now finished the current anime I'm watching, so I'll have to switch. I have a couple geared up though, so I think it'll be fine until new episodes of this one start coming in. Yeah, I don't even remember how I ended up, because it was only in the last year that I started watching Phil DeFranco show, even though like he's been on the internet for so long. I can't remember how. Cut off the light pins at 5mm. I assume that's just where the natural snap point is. Let's hope we don't lose this. I feel like I should probably use actual snippy snips. That worked. I have no idea where the ends yeeted themselves into. I see one here. I don't know where the other one is. It's fine. It's not like we need them, but... Okay. All right. Step 1, cut the light pins. We've done that. We now must remove 12mm of the rubber off the wires, off both wires in both ends, and wind them separately on the light. So the white one is the negative charge, and the yellow one is the positive charge. It seems like for this, it shouldn't matter. Oh no, it looks like it does. Okay. This orientation. Positive, negative. The negative one is the white wire. Do you? I'm glad. I hope you're drinking a nice warm beverage to soothe your throat while you watch me miniature electrician all over the place. Okay, how much is 12mm? That's like 1.2. That's not a lot. 1.2. Ooh, I'm very happy to say that, well, I have to order it, but I'm in a position now where I can go through and I can get more emotes made. So I'm gonna work on the same places I got my custom shadow ones. I'm gonna go back to them and see if they'll do me a shadow big stretch emote and then some Phantasma emotes. See, this is why we didn't cut it, because in my attempt to remove the plastic from this, I end up cutting the wire. Seeing you faff about is very therapeutic. I'm glad. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions of how to properly remove the rubber off of such tiny wiring, because I just end up cutting it. And that's not ideal. So I don't 100% know the best way to do this. I feel like it needs to be like cut at some point, like in some way, but I don't want to like score it. I don't know. How doth one remove from such tiny wires? Please advise. Well, that kind of worked, maybe. If I like split it? I don't know. Because you have to like cut the plastic without cutting the wire. Make this make sense. Maybe like along the edge? Perhaps. Perhaps. And then the teeny tiny cuts. Maybe. And then. Ho ho! Yes! Okay. Is this enough? We're meant to do, what was it? 1.6? 1.2. Okay, a little bit more. A little bit more, guys. And we broke it again. Listen. I shouldn't have played with fire. I should have just accepted that was how much we were going to be doing. And just accepted the fate. See, now this is going to get under 45. And I don't know what I'm going to tell them. I'm going to be like, listen, we're trying our best. We are trying our best. But how do you get wire off of something so freaking small? C'est impossible. Okay, let's try this again. Not get carried away. Oh no, I don't know. Maybe like a knife? Yeah. Maybe like along the edge or something. Yeah, like tiny, but like wire strippers for something so tiny. Oh, maybe this works. Okay. Ho. See, cat, this is why you're here. I'm like, I have tiny blade. We have to get to 1.2, which I think is like here. I'm just truly scraping. Okay, possibly. Okay, let's not get too carried away. Almost there. Okay, I think that's good enough. I don't want to fuck with it anymore. Okay, is this, are we at 1.2? Yeah, good enough. On both ends, though. Okay. Unless, do they just mean off both wires and both ends? I think that means both sides, doesn't it? Yeah, better Nick. Okay. Hopefully, now that we know what we're doing, we kind of know what we're doing. We don't end up breaking the wire anymore. Woohoo! Winner, chicken dinner. Okay, is this the centimeter we need? Yes, good enough. Okay. That one's done. Let's get this out of the way. Now we need to do this side. Now, hopefully, since we know what we're doing, we're not gonna cut into any more of the wire. Though I've noticed that everything that, well, I'm going to jinx it if I say this, but I've noticed that most of the things when they say, oh, you need to use about this much, it ends up being bigger than what we actually end up needing. So I hope that while they're like saying, oh, you should use this much, they're accounting for my own personal failure in accidentally cutting the wire. That's what I'm hoping, at least. I'm hoping that they're overestimating for human error. And specifically my human error. There we go. Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like they must give you more than we bargained for, yeah. You know? I assume they must. I know they've given me extra, like, cutouts. It's weird, though, that they didn't give me cutouts, like, extras for everything. I think it's just for things that they assume people are going to use lose the most. Or maybe it's, like, user submitted. They've tested, like, however many people making these craft kits, and these are 9 times out of 10 what people end up losing. I wonder if they must have, like, market research on that. They're like, of the things in the tiny kit, this is what's most likely to go missing or get lost. So we will provide extra of these only. Need to do a little bit more. There we go. Cool. Now I do. Oh, whew, excellent. Wow. I thought I still had more to do. See, when you actually have a proper method, things don't take a million years. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Okay. So now we need to wrap the wires. The thing is, because I had to use this wire to make these tiny little drink me, eat me labels. And to try to wrap this wire around something so small was like impossible. So we'll see how this goes. Need to wrap. Okay. If we look at it this way, the way the image is describing, this side is the side. So I don't know how the hell they want me to wrap this around here. Like, is it best to sort of hook it and then retroactively wrap around? Kind of like that. Because you don't want to, I know it's going to be like heat shrunken too, but I still want it to be like decently wrapped around. You know what I mean? It's just so freaking tiny. Because now we've got this like little nubbins. Yeah. See, Meg, I was half expecting you when I made a Sugar We're Going Down Fall Out Boy reference that you were going to come busting through, and then I was going to shout, see, emo never dies, but it didn't happen. Missed opportunity. We'll get them next time. But yeah, it's just like so small that I'm like trying to figure out, I don't know. Unless pop punk was not your emo of choice and you were into more hardcore stuff. No, it's all good. Don't worry about it. I love it. She's like, oh no, I have forsaken my kind. Don't worry, we forgive you, Meg. Okay, so this has been slightly wrapped. We must now continue wrapping. Boop. Okay. It also doesn't help that these tweezers kind of suck. Like, they're good for holding things, but if you're trying to put any sort of pressure on something, it's kind of not helpful. Oh, was it? Okay. I think now... Jeez, what sort of violin-y shit's going on? Okay. So I think it's just this straightforward. I feel like maybe it's supposed to be Wallflowers, Counting Crows. Wow, that's awesome. Devil Wears Prada. I've heard of them. I had friends who listened to them. My emo-y stuff was always on like the more pop punk side, less on the screamo side, but I had very screamo-y friends. Yeah. I don't know what like my very first concert was. But I have, like, I feel like the very first memory I have of, like, going to a concert, like, of my own choosing and not, like, tagging along to go on something that my parents were super into was Ashlee Simpson for her Love Tour in Toronto. Because I absolutely was obsessed with Ashlee Simpson. To be fair, I still feel like her first album, every song on there is a banger, and I will die on that hill. So yeah, Ashlee Simpson was my go-to. That was my very first. I'm trying to think, Counting Crows. Didn't Counting Crows do a remake of the Paved Paradise Pub Up Parking Lot song? And then the part at the end, there's like a girl voice at one point, and it was uncredited for so long, but it was actually Vanessa Carlton of 1,000 Miles fame. Counting Crows. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 100%. Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones. Yeah, Big Yellow Taxi. That's the song. So yeah, they did Big Yellow Taxi. Big Yellow Taxi with a cameo from Vanessa Carlton. I just listen to Screamo because the boys. Yep. Hey man, I feel like there was many a band that I was introduced to because all of the cute emo boys at my school liked it. I respect it. I respect going method, you know? It's like going method for the craft. It's like going method for the boys. I fully feel, I feel you in that respect. Something about that stupid, you know, emo sweep, the emo side sweep, something about it. And then they would always flick their hair. I think it kind of got rebranded into the Bieber, but it was the emo side sweep first. And then they would just sit there and flick their hair out of their eyes all the time. And you're like, just chill alt rock and oldies. That's awesome. That's cool that that's That's cool though, right? You're like, you've come into your own now. I was like, for every moment of my high school career, one of them owns a tattoo comic book shop with my brother-in-law. Wowie wow. Small world, eh? What would you define as oldies? Like oldies, like classic rock? Of oldies of the rock persuasion or of the... Yeah. I feel like I have a fairly eclectic music taste in terms of like there's a lot of memory attached to different things. Some child It's to the point where I know that I am old because songs that I grew up with, being obsessed with, are now being sampled by the youths in their songs. Or they're doing covers of them. So that's how I knew, because it was so funny the other day. Liam was like, so I heard this version of a song from, like, our childhood. And I was like, no, it's happening. And, like, I'm to the point, because I know my parents were the same thing. Ooh, Sinatra and Motown, very cool. I went to a performing arts high school, and I was a vocal music major. And we had, like, a Motown and jazz unit. And so we did a Motown unit, and, like, one of the things at the end of the unit was we had to then, like, perform different songs. So one of the ones that I did that I really liked was the song Money. I can't remember who sang it, but I just remember that Josie and the Pussycats redid that. Like, they covered it in their movie, and so that's why I wanted to do that one, because I knew that Josie and the Pussycats sang it too. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think, to be fair, that song Money, and you know what? As much as, like, I have reservations about Michael Jackson and, like, the Jackson estate and stuff, Want You Back by the Jackson 5 is truly one of my favorite songs. Like, it has the best walking beat, and you just, like, get pumped when you sing it. It was funny, because that was what my friend sang in our performances. And so, I don't know if you guys know this, but speaking of sampling songs, so Lil Romeo, his very first single was called My Baby, and they sampled Want You Back by the Jackson 5. And so when my friend, we would practice in these, like, performance practice rooms in class, and I used to sing, there was this little bridge in the Romeo version, where I think instead of saying, like, oh, baby, give me one more chance, it was like, oh, Romeo, you're the cutest boy I know, or like, oh, Romy, give me one more chance. And then he goes, tell ya I don't need a girlfriend. And so my friend would be singing, oh, baby, give me one more chance. And I'd be like, tell ya I don't need a girlfriend. And she's like, you better not sing that during my vocal exam. I'm like, I'm gonna try my best, but, you know, I no promises. I didn't do it. I was very good behavior, because we had backup dancers, so I sang backup for her, and she sang backup for me for our songs. So I made sure I didn't sacrifice her her thing. Okay, remove 12 millimeters of rubber off both wires. Yes, put 5 millimeters of heat shrink tube onto the wires and heat the tubes to shrink. Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, Sunday. 5 is 0.5. But yes, I am. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I sent him my recording the other day after I had done it like 6 times. In my defense, I was talking to my partner about this, and I feel like I went more for the kind of person that would be really shocking to try and impersonate versus, like, easy vocal performance. So I really, like, put myself on hard mode, I find. But I'm so excited as well to see them all. I think that's the thing. It's more exciting to see what everyone else is gonna do. Because I feel like, I don't know, I guess it depends on people's music styles, or like what, you know, like depending on people's, how they decide to go about it, right? Because you could decide that you would want to do it like more into like the person that you think you look like very different to, like someone you can transform into, versus like something you think you can sing really good, or you can like play it strictly like comedically. I'm very excited. You'll cheer my heart out for everyone. Aw, that's amazing. If you had to, this, like, anyone can answer this if you want to, what do you think your go-to karaoke song would be? Even if you, like, can't really sing, like, sometimes just being able to, like, bop along to a good tune. What is your go-to karaoke song? Is my question. And even if, like, you could never fathomably see yourself singing karaoke, you know, in public or whatever, like, this is a mythical world where, you know, time is an illusion, nothing is real, where you can do these things. So what would you choose to do? Okay, so now we need to put the heat shrink tube on the wires. Bright Side of Life. That makes a lot of sense to me. Absolutely. Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. That's cool. I like that. I like it. I like it. I think my go-to song is You Oughta Know by Alanis Morissette. Over at the Frankenstein Place. Ooh, I don't know if I've heard that one, Kat. Who's that by? I'm like, that sounds intriguing. Okay, we're going to attempt to heat shrink. I don't know how we do this. I assume we want to leave like a little gap. I don't know. This is what I'm thinking. I don't know if you guys can see. So we've put the tubage on here. It's from Rocky Horror. Ah, Yeah, I used to, for a very, very short time in my life, I was in a roller derby league, and so I only ever did one league, but I helped out with games and stuff, and at the end of every match, there would always be an after party, and they would always do karaoke at the after party, and without fail, someone always sang the Time Warp. It was so good. Really? A one-man Rocky Horror show? That would be incredible, Saul. Are you kidding me? That would be incredible. Okay, am I going to attempt... Ooh! Damn! Yes! Yes, Kat. I know. The Chicks. Oh, yes. See, I was talking before about how my family were very, like, eclectic tastes. So my mom, like, my dad was kind of like your Pink Floyd, your sort of, like, stoner alt-rock situation. But my mom was country music and disco. Yeah, I was just about to say Goodbye Earl, Certified Bob. And so we had a few of the albums, and yeah, some of those, so good. One of the things, my very first school talent show, before I discovered that I liked singing, I took tap and jazz, and so I did a tap routine to There's Your Trouble from the Chicks. So good. You can tell I'm trying to delay doing this. I'm concerned. Okay, we just heat it, right? Is that all how it works? We just... Is that all? That's how we do it? I think I burnt it. I think I burnt it. I hope it still works. Did I fuck it up? It smells burnt, guys. Whoops. I should have waited for Kat to verify to me how I'm supposed to do this. Hi, Kay! Good afternoon. I don't know. We'll see. I just torched my electrical unit. Do we think it's fine? Is it fine, guys? I don't know. We're not gonna know until we... I don't know if it smells just because I was playing with fire, because I actively, like, torched this. We might need, I don't know. Should we try again? I don't know. I can't believe it feels like it's disintegrating. I don't know. I don't know, guys. We'll just... It's done now. I've done it. I have successfully heat shrunk. I'm hoping that these burns are just the plastic and it's not a sign of, you know, it didn't make it to the actual wire. I don't know, guys. We'll see. If not, it might not have a light. My bad. Okay. So now we need to pass them through the lampshade. We have another attempt to heat shrink. So we'll try again. We'll try to be more successful next time. Oh, honestly. Now all I can smell is burning. I hope I'm not having a stroke. I'm just stressed. Is this not supposed to fit all the way in? I think it is. It's sort of like hanging a bit awkward. Just... Sure. Yeah, as long as it doesn't set the paper on fire. Exactly, right? It should be fine. It's fine. I'm like that dog surrounded by fire. It's fine, guys. Everything is fine. We didn't just, you know, burn this. Though it's annoying that I guess, I don't know, did I not heat shrink well enough? Because I would assume that this is supposed to just fit nice and snugly in here, but that's not what's happening. So we're just gonna leave it kind of popping out and hope for the best. Hi, Nungday, good afternoon. How are you doing? 40 millimeters, that's 4 centimeters, right? Okay, we must leave 4 centimeters and then shrink wrap again and hope we don't burn everything. Put the tube onto the wires. It doesn't say I should heat the tube, so maybe I'm just putting the tube on it without heating anymore. I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably it's fine. I'm gonna clean it. I was like, why did I put the entire... That's so funny. Hey man, the monkeys have a few bops, but I don't know if it's a whole album's worth ready. Cost to have a line of mugs. Ooh. Oh my god, that's really cute. I'm so used to like Starbucks having all the bougie mugs. So that's really awesome that Costa's now doing that. So do we assume that this wants us to heat it up? It did not say heat it up, so maybe we don't. It's probably for the best, you guys, that we don't set any more things on fire. It's fine. And the thing too is it's not even telling us to attach it to the battery pack yet, so I have no idea. No problem, Meg. I appreciate all of the lurky-loos. Hey, we're the monkeys. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't look like it's heat shrunk. It's probably not, just in case. A tiny punk band. Okay. Pigs in Discord. Excellent. A tiny punk from high school days. What's the name of the band? Show me the pics. Show me the pics. Oh, it's very cute. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, interesting. The little heart is so cute. Is the heart... Hang on. The heart is inside. It is inside. Okay, I wasn't sure. I couldn't really tell from here, but yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Okay. 4... Excuse me. Bend as shown, put the tube onto the wires at 40 millimeters as shown. Okay. Yeah, so like here. Okay. Can't get over basically torching that. Well, it did shrink. It just also shrunk and smoked. Use a travel mode at work since my use on. Oh no! Oh, that's good you were able to find a replacement one before the whole thing like exploded on you. Because that's the last thing you want is hot beverages exploding all over you. At work, no less. You don't want that. Okay. Now what? We need to fold these at 8 millimeters. Whoop. Let's measure. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8. So hold this here and pull this. Back to working on your quilt now. Excellent, excellent. How's it coming along? Are you enjoying the process so far? Okay, tiny wire has been bent. And now like this. And then like this. Pass the wires through the hole. Okay. Almost all the panels done, and you can join all together. Wow, that's amazing. Haha. I feel like everyone went through a Jason Mraz phase. Especially during the I'm Yours era. Or was this pre I'm Yours? Did I put this on the wrong way? I don't think so. Okay. Glue the lampshade and wire along the interior reference lines of the board. Okay. I think I'm supposed to like fully... I'm afraid to glue this down though, because if it doesn't work, then we're like snookered, you know what I mean? We can fold these down. It was yeah. He owns a fruit farm now? That's incredible. How long is this playlist? Because I've definitely made playlists that are like 3 days long. And I have a feeling that that's what this is. Okay. 48 hours. Excellent. The way a playlist should be. Okay. So now this bend the lampshade, fix with ah. It doesn't say what to do. And now glue the lampshade and the wires. Again, I'm a bit nervous to do that. Let me try to figure out how this gets put on here, and we'll see if we can like make some changes. Okay, so it literally just hangs there. Wonder if there's a way. I actually don't even think, maybe. I don't know. I think what I'll do, and I know, like, I don't know, we're not going to heat shrink it or whatever, but I'm going to try to test to see if this light even works. Because if I fucked it up, I don't really want to glue it down and then have it not work. You know what I mean? Okay. So red is to yellow and black is to white. Okay. So let's... what kind of batteries are these? I think they're just... are they double A's? Triple A's. Okay, let me check and see if we have those. Over here. Found one and I was like, oh no, but then I found where all the other ones were and it was fine. So let's test this first, and then once we know it works. Oh, I forgot he made music. I totally forgot he was in a band at one point. Okay. Yellow to red. Make sure that's off. I feel like if I can just like little test, right? Just to see. Okay, it's not perfect, but let's just make sure this actually works. Ready? Praying. Pray to all the miniature gods. We have light! We have light! Okay. Okay. Whew, I didn't kill it. It's fine. Excellent, excellent. Go team. Yes, we did it! Okay, now that we know that it works, oh, now I'm blinded. Now that we know that it works, I can confidently glue this in place. Excellent. Go team. High five. We did it. I was so nervous. Okay. Let's glue shit down then. Okay, but glue the lampshade and the wire. Okay. Okie dokie. there. Ooh. That seems like a lot, but it's fine. We'll just hold that for a bit before it, just to make sure it starts to get tacky. And then we glue this down. And then, guys, I'm so freaking stoked. You clipped it. Incredible, cat. 2 floors with lights dotted all around. Oh my goodness, Amelia, that sounds incredibly ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Next level. It froze for a second too, which made it even better. Absolutely. Oh, so funny. That's wild. Do you have a photo of the miniature you made, Noonday? Because that sounds fascinating to me. Lights dotted all around. That sounds like a lot. Kudos to you. This is like really awkward. It's just kind of like hanging there. Hopefully that's fine, but... Oh no! I feel like I did the same thing. Is it first album JT? Or is it Sexy Back JT? Oh my goodness. That's so intricate. Was that your first one? That was your first time making a miniature in a day? Jeez, just next level. It looks incredible though. Yeah. Good for you, honestly. Championes. Okay, now we need to glue this down. Maybe we can get away with, I don't know, we'll see. I love how instead of just making a brand new playlist, you're like, I'm going to go in and edit this garbage one instead. And I respect that. It's on a shelf under a clear dust box. Yeah, that's the one thing with this one. It doesn't have a dust cover, so I'm gonna have to invest in getting one. Yeah, there's another company. It's not a Rolife one, but I know they seem to have dust covers that come with their kits. So I'm annoyed this one doesn't have one, but it should be easy enough to procure. Okay, and then we'll start gluing this down. And then we're gonna have to turn the rubber, which will be interesting. I'll make a dust cover. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like dust covers should be more of a thing. Because I'm the same way where, like, I have all these figurines and all this stuff, but it's like, I'm a terrible duster. And so, like you said, they just get caked in dust and you're like, you feel bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry. My apologies to my stuff. Okay, that is tacky enough. And then sort of here, I think, is like... Yeah. Ooh. I know too, because like we have the walls behind our sofa downstairs are quite bare, and I like the idea of putting like a display cabinet on there. But it's like you either get those like the ones that you can hang up, and so if you want one that has like a door or like a clear covering on it, right? Honestly, that's part of their appeal, right? Knickknacks and dust are like peanut butter and jelly. It's just a classic combo. Yeah, and so it's like then you try to find ones and they're really, really thin, and people only really put like match cars in them and stuff, or you get really intricate shelves that you display them in and then you have to dust them. I love a bit of dust, but it's a bit more-ish. You like can't have just one. I don't know how I feel about this being kinked, but it's just the rubber that's kinked. It's not necessarily the wire, so I think it'll be fine. As long as I can... Yeah, I can still move the wire within this, so I think it'll be fine. Even though I shouldn't be, because I'm currently trying to get this to dry. Okay. Oh no! Need to stop faffing with it. We don't shame the kinks here. They're the ones that do all day and all night, right? The only time I feel alright is by your side. I actually love that song. Girl, I want to be with you in the good time all day and all of the night. Sitting on my desk like this S. Honestly, that was like me the other day when I wasn't streaming and working on this stuff, and I was like, why am I so sore? And it's like, yeah, because you've been in craft gremlin mode for 3 hours. What do you think? I'm like, oh yeah, right. Unless you mean kink shame, Saul. I was talking about the kinks as in the rock band that we don't shame, but also we don't kink shame as well. You made it to the end of the list. Excellent, excellent. I am back. How are you, Buddy Bear? Marty, how you doing? Just saying, my giveaway stuff went out on Wednesday, so hopefully you receive it soon. It's 20 hours long now. That's not bad. You basically cut it in half. That's impressive, Kat. That's incredible. Okay, hopefully this stays. And we just have to put it off to the side and hope for the best. Though that didn't really do any sort of gluage. Okay. Let's try again. We'll hold it this time. And then we get to start on the actual showcase where we can put some of these bits and bobs in the display cabinet. Gotta add new karaoke song. Yeah. Ooh, what are your new car karaoke songs? Do share. Excellent. I'm glad my craft gremlin persona amuses you. Every church chiropractor director would tell us to stretch and get all the kinks out. And then every time I'd have to hold back my snark because church. Absolutely. It will live on now. Yes, live on in infamy. I'm sure it won't be, it's not its first appearance, and I'm sure it won't be its last. Okay, we're just gonna hold this for a wee bit longer. A wee bit longer. And then, next on the docket, let me find, because I did Legoize this and made it into its functional pieces. So this is the showcase box we will be working on. Okay. I think we'll leave, where are we going to put this so that it's not in the way? Here, maybe? Where shall I put you so you don't get your wires in the way of stuff? Maybe there. Sort of, kind of, maybe. It's like tentatively pushed back. Okay, what time is it? I believe it is snack time. Let's open the stream snack and get out all of the bits for our showcase. We're now here now. We're now here now. We are here now. Julie and the Phantoms. I've not watched that yet. I really should. Said Emily. She's the Marcus Fitzgerald. Never getting rid of me. Ooh, I like this. Landslide's another good chick song. We're gonna get all the pieces. Oh, from Waitress. I've never actually seen the musical. I've seen the movie that it's based on. But that's really cool. So are you quite a big musicals fan, Kat? Because you've mentioned Rocky Horror and now Waitress. Do love a musical. Same. I'm very like, I don't know. I feel like I have niche musical interests. Or it's like I do, or it's like the musicals I really, really like. And then I just don't partake in very many. My brother-in-law is really into musicals. Grease got you started? Yeah. I feel like that's everyone's musical gateway. Though I remember my vocal music teacher said she refused, like, at the school we went to ever do a production of Grease because she didn't believe it was a real musical. But yeah, Grease. The one, actually, that I ended up seeing off-Broadway that I became obsessed with, and then I went to go see it when it was on the West End here, was the musical version of Heathers. I don't know. First of all, Heathers as the 80s cult classic on its own is already incredible. And then you put it to music and it makes it even better. Grease 2. My friend had the VHS of Grease 2. I never ended up watching it, but that's with Michelle Pfeiffer, eh? She's a fox. She's incredible. She's in one of my favorite movies, White Oleander. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Okay. Do we have all the wooden pieces? We got this guy. 3 of Phantom Cats and Sweeney Todd. Wowie wow. You like Cats? Cats is incredible. Cats is like an acid trip. I think isn't it Andrew Lloyd Webber who does Cats? Like, who knows what he was doing at that time? Cats can kind of fun. It was so funny. So one of the things, I think I talked about this before, how I went to the Fringe Festival when I was in Edmonton over the summer, which is like a amateur theater sort of production thing, or festival, sorry. The original one being in Edinburgh. And got lasered in the eyeball. Really? No wonder you're traumatized from that experience. And so my parents, or my mom specifically, wanted to stay for this Thundercats play musical, and she saw it and thought, like, and based on it was like basically going to be cats, but then she thought it was going to be like AC/DC Thunder, like Thunderstruck Cats. And so she really wanted to see it. So then Liam and I were like, oh, whatever, like we're game to watch whatever. And Liam and I are walking around the park, and we see all the posters for all of the different Fringe Festival shows. And we see the Thundercats one. And there's this, in the poster, it's like the cats, Andrew Lloyd Webber cats, but then there's a sword on the poster. And I look at Liam and I'm like, well, that doesn't look very like 80s rock and roll kind of to me. And he was like, yeah, and then he goes, no, that's not what Thundercats means. It means Thundercats, the 80s cartoon. So we went to, unbeknownst to my parents, but Liam knew what was happening because he grew up on Thundercats because he had an older brother. So we then watched an amalgamation of Thundercats and Cats as a musical. Yeah, and actually, if you Google like Thundercats Fringe Festival, it's on there. Aw, Kat, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Thank you for hanging out today. I'm so excited you get some time off, get to leave early today. Excellent, excellent. But yes, guys, Google Thundercats Fringe and it'll be on there. Okay. So one of those, 3 of those, 2 of those, 1 of those. Right. 2 of those. 2 of those. 2 of those. This guy. These 4. And then we also need this and this. And this. And our transparent sheets. And a bit of flannelette. No problem, Saul. I hope you have an amazing stream. Enjoy. Thanks for hanging out. And then these little gold guys. Actually, we can probably unzoom the camera because we're working on something a little bit larger for a change. let's configure the video and we will get back up and we will autofocus. There we go. So you guys can see a little bit more of what's going on. And then, ooh, where's our gold stickers? Where have I put you? Here we go. Gold stickers. I believe that is everything. And then we get to start putting the bits in there. But first, so let's pop these away. Step one is that this is very similar to when I made the display case, where we're taking like a discarded piece that we popped previous things out of, and then we're creating a base or something out of it. Now to figure out what classic musical could be mashed up with Rainbow Bright. Challenge accepted, Kay. You go forth and make magic happen. I believe in you. That would be actually incredible. Okay. Hopefully this isn't... It's alright that this is like a smidge bigger. Probably not, though. Yeah. So I'm gonna just take a little bit off of this just because I'm worried. Because I think these things need to slot into other things. So if it's a bit too big, then it's not really gonna do that. That should be fine. Okay. Their son is Rent. Oh, yeah. Oh, I loved Rent. I was such a Rent head in high school. Such a Rent head. I was gonna say, the synopsis of Rent is like a bunch of different stories, but they all revolve around different groups of people battling HIV and living in like the slums of New York at the turn of the century. So if there's some sort of like, you know, affliction that, you know, afflicts the Rainbow Bright community, maybe you could draw some parallels. The only thing with flannelette is that it sheds like a mofo. So hopefully... Trying to see where the back is. And that's where I want to put the stuff. That's probably a good idea. And also, hopefully this isn't too big. Though fabric is like smushy, you know what I mean? So you can like smoosh the fabric bits in on themselves if you need to, I think. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself. Okay, step 1. Create the base. Step 2 is glue the transparent sheets on the boards. So the smaller ones naturally go on the smaller ones. You are super small. And now I assume that these notches. This is. I remember my theater nerd friends in high school spending our lunch break singing songs from Rent or Chicago. That's amazing. I love it. Oh, Chicago too. That's a good one. A classic. I think my favorite was the rendition. I think it was Todrick Hall who did a version of the Cell Block Tango, but it was all Disney villains, and it was just so clever. Okay, so that one goes in this one. I believe. I remember making these and them kind of all being the wrong size. So hopefully we can just, you know, we can figure it out. Yeah, so I assume that this one is for this one. I might have to make some cuts though, and then these ones are for these guys, which again, also some cuts may be required, but that's all right. Okay. Now we have to do the part of peeling off the transparencies. Hopefully that, there we go. Remember it being such a pain in the butt when we were doing the tiny ones for the tea cup display case. But hopefully, because these ones are bigger, it won't be as much of a struggle. I say that. I knew. I think I might have put too much glue on them. But no matter, as long as... I believe that was too much glue, but I think it'll be okay. We just know for next time. If I can make sure that I clean the glue so that it doesn't stick to the sides, it probably would be easier to have this dry this way. Because then the pressure would be sticking it down, and then we can kind of clean up some of this. At least we can attempt to. Oh no! It would help if I didn't get more glue on the front. Hopefully, I think this is just a side one, so we can be like, nothing to see here. I'm absolutely making it worse. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Oh, that was a bad idea. I went to blow the glue strand off of this, forgetting that all of this shit I folded is made out of paper, and I just yeeted all of the tiny creations all over the desk. Smooth move, Tasha. Excellent work. Oh well. I think nothing is broken. It's just, you know, scattered. It's fine. Okay. I think the worst one is this. There we go. It's all good. Whoops. Okay. Now please don't be stuck to the table. No, you don't appear to be, so I assume we are okay. Okay. It's fine. Everything is fine. It's all good. All good, all good, all good. Okay. So now that that one is chilling, it's only because that was slightly bent. Now, this one. Same deal, though we do need to cut it. Should work fine as long as we make sure that. Okay. It's like the panicky version of Matthew McConaughey's all right. It's not all right. It's okay. It's my pep talk to myself. It's one of the things that Liam has called me out on, where like anytime I do something, I'm always like, okay, like I have to psych myself up to like get off the sofa and like, you know, okay, gotta do the thing now. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you're hyping yourself up. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. Being an adult is hard. You gotta give yourself pep talks. You gotta be like, whoa, I got this, you know? Be your own cheerleader. Same deal. I should probably keep the curve up. It's a thing you do when you're in your 30s age range, right? Psych yourself up? Absolutely. I feel like it's a thing that kids probably do as well, you know? Maybe they don't say it out loud, but I feel like kids are really good at like psyching themselves up for things. Like, okay, let's do this, you know? Okay, less glue this time. We don't need as much glue splooging out like last time. Ooh. We're gonna flatten it again here and hope it doesn't stick to the mat. All the flannelette bits and bobs are all over this thing. Just gonna blow on it again. I need like a tiny brush. Like a little, you know, teeny brush. Okay. Because this is slightly curved. Oh, same thing with this guy. So it turns out there is a downfall to using this larger vinyl scraps because they get curved, and so there's more issues. Here, I'm gonna... There we go. Possibly. That's better. Yeah, there's got to be a way to clean up these display cabinets. Because they look very messy. That's all right. Two down, two to go. And then once these are dry, we do the assemblage. So the front one, I think, is this one. So we should work really hard to make sure that one is clean. Whereas these guys are off to the side, so it's not as bad. Cool. So like I said to you guys, this Sunday, I'm going to be over on our good friend Saul's channel, Sunday at 8 p.m. for Stars in Your Mouth, which is one of his shows. It's going to be like a performance competition show similar to the British show Stars in Your Eyes. I will be one of the contestants, so you'll get to see me perform, which I've not done in a hot minute. I guess you could call, you know, streaming performing, but I just feel like I'm just hanging out with you guys and doing crafts. I'm not like performing. So you'll get to see that on Sunday if you want to come check that out. And then if not, you know, we'll be back here on the Tuesday. We're getting to the point now where I think we are sort of on the home stretch for this project. We're starting to actually create the structural pieces to bring it all together, which is very exciting. And then maybe I'll do a poll on my Instagram about which craft kit we should attempt next. Because I have a rug hooking kit, an embroidery kit, and a doggy snood knitting kit. Which, you know, all crafts and activities that I have never undertaken before. I assume because I cross stitch, embroidery should be, you know, knock on all the wood, the sort of easiest of them all, of the three. Or the one that I should just feel like I, you know, more naturally, you know, succeed at, I guess, is the term. But we will do them all. Whether we'll see, you know, whether or not we do them successfully. That still remains to be seen. I'm just trying in vain to remove some of this glue. These are the sides, so I don't know. We'll see. They all have specific purposes, so I don't know. Maybe we can go in there later and try to figure it out. Are we gluing all of these things in, or are we just strategically placing them? I think it just wants us to like sit them. Okay, two. Some of these will obviously have to be glued. They must have to be. Or it's just like, you know, a traditional display where you're just like leaning stuff against each other. Interesting. I'm just concerned that as soon as I move it, all the shit's gonna topple out of it. You're meant to glue the butterflies. Insert and glue, place the ornaments, and then glue the butterflies, and then glue. Yeah, so you're just placing. Okay. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully I don't knock everything over. I'm gonna try to clean up all the glue stringies once this is all fully dry. Okay, last one. Just like the tiniest bit too long. Okay, there we go. Much better. Much better. Ooh, hopefully the covers actually come off of this corner. Oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Ooh. Come on. There we go. Just took a little bit more coaxing. Oh. Oh no. Alright. The final piece. That's a bit annoying about this bit, but that's fine. Ooh. That has a little slit in it. So we should probably make sure that this doesn't go over that. Ooh, interesting, interesting. Okay. Okay. At least, I know we've already taken the transparency off, but we're not going to see this. So it'll be fine. And we'll just cut. And I'm sure. Yeah, that wasn't going to stay on there anyway. Perfect. Okay, is this now? There we go. Just in case, I think these might just be lines like lining shit up, but in case something is meant to go in there, we want to make sure we're not obstructing it in any way. Do you know what I mean? That was a lot of glue. Yeah. I'm covered in glue. It's all good though. Okay, let's pop this down here. Because I assume these have to line up, so it would be ideal if there's not like glue splooge all over the sides of it. Okay. We are drinking the coldest of cold tea right now, but it's nice. I don't mind it. All right. So it looks like C16 was this one.
It's lengthening.
Pete, thank you very much for the stretch. Right before we transition into more gluing, we must get out of craft gremlin mode for a minute. Ooh. So C2 and C15. I believe it's those two on the right there. Whew, very good. Ew. Okie dokies. You sunk my battleship. Alright. Now this side has the 2 slots. That's this one here. Okay, this has the larger pieces in it, so I feel like the side that I don't like should be there. And then, ooh. So we're supposed to insert them into the grooves and then glue them. It might be best just to glue. Glue as we go. Just realized I was putting glue somewhere I didn't need to put it. It's fine. Yeah, I think I made the velvet a bit too long, but I feel like that happens with displays anyway. Oh, the ruckus is because Liam just arrived. And Shadow gets very excited about it. Oh yeah, duh. Why am I not gluing the entire thing? Okay, let's try this again. Let's glue all along here as well. And pop this in there. And now it should stay a little bit better than it was. Yeah, you can hear him, eh? Yeah, he's so excited. His best friend is home. Hold that in place a little bit, and then we'll do the next piece. Now I assume that I should also be gluing the pieces of the cabinet together as well. Also, it looks like this wasn't super dry yet, so maybe we need to work on that. Should be fine. I don't know. Can we go in and fix it once it's all attached together? Possibly. Maybe. Sorta, kinda. Okay. So maybe what we'll do is, oh, that's a lot of glue. Whoops. Well, just to make sure we are super secure. so excited. I can't wait. Hopefully we get to actually put all the little accoutrement in there. We have what? Yeah, we have a half hour. I believe in us. I think we can do it. Oh, what was the rabbit hole? Is this still the 80s, the beloved 80s show musical remake rabbit hole? If so, do share your findings. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, hopefully we can crush it. Though I don't really understand why this isn't even. Yeah. Where did you come across? Or did you just watch all of the Thundercats musical? Though I think it's like an hour and some. It's like a full ass thing. I love it. Okay, let's get some of this excess glue off of here. Yeah, this isn't exactly even. Now it's skewing the plot of various musicals. Did you come up with any? Did you find one that might work, or no, not yet? Because there's still many musicals, right? There's tons of musicals that exist, so I'm sure it's a bit of an adventure. Okay. Probably should have put glue all the way down this, but it's fine. Rent or Starlight Express. Ooh, I don't know if I've ever heard of that one. Excuse me. Oh. It's over here. And then this one. Okay, I'm gonna skip this because it's freaking me out. Pretzel Rocks, what is this? This is not a chill song. This is a concerning song. We're just gonna ignore that. Okay. So this is... We're gonna... Oops, that was a lot of glue. It's fine. Because this is going to be fitting in here and then sitting along that edge. Starlight Express is to trains what Cats is to cats. Interesting! Everyone's on roller skates. Oh. That sounds like a very interesting musical. And yeah, here we go. Line up. We need to line these guys up. That sounds like an interesting, like, production-wise to put on. To have everyone be on roller skates. Like, you'd have to have everybody be quite versed in such things. I guess this is like a little bit difficult because we're gluing on top of the wood, but as well as a little bit off of the like the translucent panel, so I don't think everything is going to be like super even, but that's all right. Ooh. Okay, you just need to hold that for a minute. And now that it holds itself up, then we put everything together, which is gonna be exciting. Yeah, it sounds quite interesting. Like, it sounds like from a production standpoint, quite an intense feat to pull off. Oh no, we're obviously gonna have to glue. There's no way that ornament is gonna sit on that dice box just chilling. There's no way. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely then. That would be quite involved. Okay. Now, we might just have to accept how messy this looks. And just... How did I get so much glue on the front of this? Go. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to clean up whatever glue might have ended up in and around here. Making sure to not accidentally cause all of my stuff to fly all over the place again. Probably shouldn't mess around with it, well, too much while this is all still drying. Okay. So this is the display case so far. We now have to place all of the tiny accessories into here. And I am convinced that some gluing may need to occur, but we will see. The other hand, Rent would be much more serious mashup. Yeah. So the die goes there, and then the clock is meant to chill on that. And I feel like this is the major test to see if it will just, oh shit, maybe it will just hang out in there. It feels kind of dangerous though to just like leave it. And then this we're straight up gluing on here. Sort of. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm just concerned that when I try to move it to place it like on the rest of the on the rest of the tea shop, like when I go to put everything together, that all of the placement I've done of this is all just gonna like fall off. Okay, so just glued a little sign, little poster in there. And then we're meant to take our little tubes and just sort of like strategically lean them. Yeah. I'll show you what I'm looking at that is meant to indicate what's going on. Again, even I'm having a hard time like see it. Yeah, you're looking at it from the top down right now. That's why it's difficult to sort of see what's going on. But I don't know if you can sort of see from this. So this is sort of what I'm trying to do. Oh, let's see if the focus wants to work. Oh yeah, Liam's had to go to the chiropractor, so I'm sure Shadow's going to be not happy about that. And then, yeah, and then the butterflies and stuff go on it. Let me see if I can actually, if I do this. Oh, no, I think it's not gonna work. Woo! No, it's not gonna work. I was thinking maybe I could bring you guys down to see it, but I don't think so. No, I don't think there's any reason to not glue it. I guess maybe to see if it, like, it might look bad. I don't know, like, you might see all the glue marks and stuff. But I'm not sure. But this one is meant to stand upright, so I think it does need to be. Ooh. Yeah. Going down ground floor crafts. Yeah, absolutely. I thought I could bring you down, but not an option. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that one of them needs to be glued because there's no way that that's going to strategically balance, but we'll see what happens. We'll put this stuff down, and then if I'm like, we absolutely need to sort it out, then we will. This is meant to go like that. And then this little guy here. Oh. Yeah, I think we do. If not all of it, parts of it. So let's put like a little dollop. Maybe here. And then just to help stabilize it a little bit more. And then I guess Shadow's like, this is bullshit. Okay, I probably shouldn't have glued that down before I glued the dice down, but it's fine. And then so this little guy here, this is meant to sit like literally on top of this. So I assume that then needs to be kind of glued. Yeah, I feel like when we were making the actual display cabinet, it worked out having you guys zoomed out again. But now that we're gluing tiny things, I'm sure you're like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, same. There we go. Shadow. I'm just so amazed at this glue. I've just like popped that on there and it's like it's already sticking. Maybe I should just pop like a little bit of glue. It'll be one of those where it won't be like super attached to anything, but maybe like give it enough something something. Hello, Shadow. Are you so... maybe it was a bad idea. Now it's attached itself to the wall. Yeah, are you so upset that Liam had to go to the chiropractor? Yeah, here you go. Come on in. Oh, you want my granola bar wrapper? Okay, you can have it. I will let you have it. Okay. Oh no. This like it like kind of worked. I feel like it's a very narrow. God damn it. Stay. Blah! Nope. I tried to faff with it too much. Maybe certain things should be glued and others should just be. Yeah. He's all right now, though. He's got a granola bar wrapper to appease him for a minute. Oh. Jeez. Okay. tough time. Liam will be back soon. He will. I'm gonna have a little rest. Sorry, Tasha's got glue all on her fingers. He's like, Mom, please pet my butt. Yeah? Is that what you're doing? You... Hello. Here, let me scooch. There you go. There you go. This is my POV. This is just my dog's butt. Yeah. He's like, I need emotional support butt scratches. Are you gonna let me finish? Are you gonna let me finish my display case? He's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah? Did you have a nice nap? I know your bestest friend came home and then left immediately. It made you feel very upset. But he'll be back. I promise. Yeah, he'll be back. The most forlorn puppy dog in all the land. Can I finish what I'm doing? Whoa. Whoa. Can I finish what I'm doing, please? Blended prosciutto, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you being here. Oh, there you go. You gonna lay down for a bit? I can't scratch your butt when you're lying down. Oh, there you go. He's gonna have a rest now. Big baby's gonna have a little snooze. Isn't that right? We can see each other again. Oh, sorry, dude. I'm just gonna scooch over just a smidge. There we go. All right. Where were we? Placing bits. Okay, and now we also need to place some tea boxes. He is, honestly, which is a little bit rude considering that I'm the one who feeds him and walks him and spends all day with him. And then, you know, Liam's his bestest bud. I'm like, okay, whatever. He even snuggles with Liam more than he snuggles with me. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. Why are you so disrespectful? To the point where Shadow will full on like lay down on Liam and like snuggle with him. And all three of us were sitting on the sofa and Shadow had gotten up and he walked over and was standing over top of me, basically blocking my view of the TV. And I'm like, Shadow, just lie down. Like, come on, you can lie down on me. Like, you can also do that. So as soon as I said, okay, lie down, he walked over me, over to Liam and then lied down and snuggled with him. And I was like, you were literally standing over me, prime position to snuggle with me, but okay. It was very rude. Such a rude boy. But it's fine. Because I feel like when he gets hurt or when he's like, you know, sad, he does come to me. But still. Okay, now we're also putting our little crystal ornament in here. I think that's what it is, where it's like a scarcity thing, where it's like, because I'm home all the time. Because he usually settles quite quickly. And to be fair, because I don't leave the house very often, when I do, he's like inconsolable for a little bit. He gets over it, but... So it's really funny because like, Liam's his absolute favorite until I try to leave. And he's like, Mom never leaves the house. What the hell is going on? She's gone forever. And then Liam has to be like, no, she's coming back. Okay. So I want to try to show this to you, but I don't want to tilt it. It might all fall. This is the best I can do. There we go. It's actually not bad. So these are not glued down, but I think they're weighed down enough that it's okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So we have two little tea things. We have a little jewel here. The autofocus is not doing its job today. That's fine. And then we have little rolls of paper, the clock, and a little poster. So yeah, not too bad. So let's seal these suckers in. And actually, I feel like we can probably get away with moving this forward a bit more. Now I'm just like faffing and getting finicky. I'm trying to match the display that they have to a certain degree. Oops, 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 oops. Okay, good enough. Now we need to seal this sucker in. I feel like our best way of doing that is probably gluing along here. And then I think this is actually a perfect place to end for today because we will have officially sealed in the display box. There is still a bunch of like little pieces to add to it to sort of like zhuzh it up, if you will. I just realized that this fell apart. That's fine. But we can do that on Tuesday. We can finish the display box. There's all these little... before the glue gets too dry. So yeah, if anybody has any raid suggestions, let me know. If not, we'll go visit whichever of our friends. I wanna, ooh, is this gonna be, no, that's gonna be really risky. I was like, oh, I should put it on its side to help gravity help weigh it down, but not everything is glued down, so I feel like that's not a good idea. Ooh, retroactive Becks are needle felting. Okay, cool. I like that idea. Oh my goodness, Mr. Man. You are just so upset. Here, let me pull them up while this is drying. Hope the gaps in this aren't too big. You can go downstairs. I'll be there in a minute. I will be there in a minute. What is it? Retroactive Becks. That's what it is. Retroactive Becks. Perfect. Yeah, I'm almost done. I I know, honestly. He's being such a little diva right now. The world's biggest princess. Isn't that right? Oh no! It's fine. It's fine. I can just move them with the tweezers. Maybe. Okay, there's the raid message. We are queued up to see this person. Let us go raid out. Retroactive Bex. Excellent, excellent. And like I said, you guys, we will finish the external part of the display cabinet on Tuesday. And then what are we doing after that? I think after that, yeah, we're starting. After that, guys, we get to put the accessories on our table and our shelf. Oh shit, you know what I just realized I forgot to do before we sealed this in? I'm supposed to be putting little butterflies on there. Whoops. I'm just gonna rip this off. Yes, I am. Oh well, I'll do that while we go do that. Anyway, I'll fix that and then we will continue again doing the external parts tomorrow or Tuesday. Words are hard. Anyway, have a great weekend, guys, and please go visit Saul on Sunday at 8 p.m. I will be there and we're gonna have so much fun. Bye. Time to raid. Time to raid. Make a new friend. Okay, bye!